Hi, I'm Laura Rolfe, host of Powered by Franchising and CEO of Mint Franchise Consultants. I just returned from an amazing, incredible franchise mastermind from the weekend. There was a group of about 12 franchise consultants and a dozen of some of my favorite home service brands who set sail on the maiden voyage of what we like to call FRANship. So today's topic is going to be kind of a high-level overview of some of the insights that we shared over the course of our time together, talking about best practices in franchising and setting new franchisees up for success. So first of all, I wanted to just do a quick little preview. Many of the brands that were on that FRANship event over the weekend will be highlighted and join me on the Powered by Franchising podcast over the next several months. Those include some well-known brands like Belfor Franchise Group, Tony Hulbert, CEO of Horsepower Brands. Last week we had Tim and Kimber Montgomery with ResiBrands on the show. They were part of the maiden voyage. We had Authority Brands, VODA Cleaning and Restoration, Rolling Suds, and a few others. Just a very, very dynamic go-getter kind of group. So during this mastermind, one of the reasons why we got together is to talk about how we can best set up those aspiring entrepreneurs for success in business ownership. And while there's a lot of people out there who can successfully create an idea, start and launch a business successfully independently, the runway for starting your own business from scratch is a pretty long one. From concept to creating operations and marketing plans, designing logos, figuring out technology, all of that is a pretty long runway. So franchising is a great way to have more of a springboard into business ownership, following the best practices and proven systems that have already been put into place, put into practice in other cities with the same brand across the United States and sometimes internationally. In that springboard of investing in a franchise, you also have a professional business coach, a CEO, and a team around you to help support you every step of the way, from the discovery process of better understanding the business model, the territory, what it takes to be a successful franchisee, but also it's important to have that ongoing training. So no matter how seasoned you are as an entrepreneur, if this is your first business or your 26th business, there's still going to be stuff that happens during the launch and then ongoing that you might scratch your head and wonder, how do I get through this? So having a team around you from the franchisor support level, as well as other franchisees, can be tremendous value to your business. Some of the other things that we talked about as far as creating that franchise runway to build your business, the home service brands that attended this mastermind over the weekend, many of them will launch anywhere from 30 days to 4 months after you sign a franchise agreement. So it's a quick startup. So you can start making money right away. And if you're looking to invest in being in a business full time, that's really integral to launching your business and having a fast start program. If you're looking at a brick and mortar type of business, it might take a little bit longer. It can take anywhere from 3 to 9 months to launch a brick and mortar business, but it's still going to be a much faster pathway to owning and operating a successful business than that independent from the ground up type of opportunity. Some of the other parts of our conversation are, who makes a good franchisee? Who's a good candidate for investing in a brand and in themselves? So a question that I'm asking you as our listeners is, are you willing to bet on yourselves? There's some sort of catalyst for change why you are listening to this podcast, or perhaps you've listened to other podcasts and have inquired and started looking at a couple of brands. So what is your reason? What is your why? Why are you looking at franchising now? Are you really ready to make a change, to make a leap from your W-2 job? Perhaps you're part of a series of layoffs that we've been hearing about recently. Or perhaps you're just tired of working for somebody else and you want to invest in your own financial future and destiny by business ownership. So think about your why. What is your purpose? And then talk about your why with your family. Talk about how they'll support you with being a business owner and an entrepreneur. Because you need to have the buy-in, particularly if you're married, of your spouse, because it's usually shared money. So, how are they going to support you in investing in a business? And are you willing to bet on yourself? I think that was one of the things that resonated the most with me over the weekend, one of many things that we'll talk about today. But are you willing to invest and bet on yourself? Are you a winner, and are you going to go all in if you have enough information to make an educated decision about finding the right business and taking the plunge? It is completely normal throughout the franchise process to go through some fears. Perhaps you're going through some fears now, like, how am I going to cover medical insurance? Or what if I don't make it? Or how am I going to build in a salary while I'm building and growing my business? So those are all things that we can certainly address through the discovery process, and you can chat with the franchisor about, but they're completely normal. So for me, I had a lot of those same fears before I started Mint Franchise Consultants. I had recently been laid off from my W-2 job and tried to figure out how was I going to make a salary while starting a business. So my consultant introduced me to funding, and part of the funding conversation was building in a salary so that I could continue to maintain my household expenses while building and growing a business. And then I talked with friends who were entrepreneurs about how I was going to fund and find my medical insurance so I could solve that problem. So once I figured out the things that I was fearful about or I was apprehensive about as far as business ownership goes, and I was able to get enough information to move forward, I was all in. I was 100%, I'm moving forward and all in. So during our mastermind over the weekend, we talked about how not everybody who has a conversation with a franchise consultant or a franchisor is ready to make that plunge. Some people get cold feet right away and they don't even have a first call with me. Or some people will get to the very, very end of the process and then start coming up with reasons or excuses why they can't sign the franchise agreement or why they need to push it back a little bit. And those, cold feet is something that I can help you see both sides of the equation. Is now the time? Is it ever going to be the time? And sometimes it takes 2 or 3 times looking at franchising before you're really all in betting on yourself and making that financial commitment. And that's okay. But you can't be straddling the fence for months and months and months because a franchisor is not going to hold a territory for you. And they're wanting somebody who's going to be decisive because business leaders and business owners are decisive in making business decisions. And if you're indecisive for a long period of time about are you in, are you out, are you in, are you out, what kind of leader are you going to be? One of the other things to think about that we spent quite a bit of time on in this mastermind is how all in are you as a franchise candidate in your business? Since I've become a consultant, I've heard, owner-operator business ownership, semi-absentee business ownership, which is 10 to 20 hours a week, or absentee business ownership, which is 5 to 10 hours a month. And so I have to have some tough conversations with some of my candidates, some of my clients, to see, what is it that's all in? We all want that magic money tree that's going to make money and we're not going to have to do any work. But business ownership is work. You do have to invest time and financial resources to do the heavy lifting of launching a successful business, whether it's independent or if you're investing in a franchise business. And if you're a part-time business owner or semi-absentee business owner, also considered a semi-involved business owner, your runway is going to be longer to making money. It just is, because you're going to have to find a qualified manager or regional director to manage and run your business for you. That takes time to find. They're going to need to be trained and onboarded, and they're going to need to instill some of your values as the business owner. And there's no magic, special contract unless you build it in with your general manager that they're going to be around for as long as you own the business. So oftentimes I'll see people who do invest in a semi-involved or semi-absentee business model and they hire a GM, having some sweat equity or some equity into the business built in is one of the ways that you can hire, retain, and keep strong leadership clients for your business. But if you're paying them $50,000 plus commission or $120,000 commission or $120,000 salary, something like that, there's nothing to say that they might not get a better offer from somebody else, and then you're back at zero again. So something to consider, not to scare you off from business ownership as semi-absentee, but we see it time and time again, and that was a big part of our discussions, again, that who makes the best business owners, and those are the ones who are all in as the franchisee in the business. That doesn't mean that you're going to work day to day in operations and do the daily grind and provide whatever service your business operates, but it's really being the mayor of your town and being a leader and making decisions that guide your employees and your team, but more importantly, being out there networking with others. So being a full-time owner-operator would mean leaving a full-time job, but it could also mean that you're out on the golf course with property managers who are going to be a great referral source for your HVAC or roofing business. It could be lunches or dinners with the real estate association and realtors in your market who are going to be your painting and roofing referral partners for your business. Or attending BNI meetings or provisors or network and action meetings to help network and get those referral sources for your business. Those are very actionable owner-operator types of roles that you can take on as a full-time business owner without having to be in the minutia. It was very clear to me over the weekend and through my other conversations that I've had over the years with franchisors that most franchisors do not want owner-operators who are swinging a wrench or grabbing a paintbrush and a ladder and going and standing on a ladder painting a ceiling. They want people who have a vision for a big business, who happen to paint or happen to do roofing or happen to run a successful plumbing business. In fact, the most successful franchisees that each of these service industries had is none of the franchise owners knew how to fix a toilet or put in a garbage disposal or a dishwasher or to do the dryer vent cleaning for the business. So looking more for the CEO who can paint that vision for owning and operating a big successful business through hiring well, hiring great team members, and then managing the team. And then also being a great salesperson or marketing person in the community. And then also somebody who is really good at understanding the numbers, somebody who's willing to learn how to look at a KPI, key performance indicator, and go, gosh, we need to make a little bit of a tweak. Perhaps I need to coach my salespeople on converting clients to help them have a higher close ratio, or I need to work with a subcontractor to make sure that they're finishing the business in a timely manner so that they can move on to the next job more quickly. Whatever it is that you need to coach to, but understanding those KPIs and working with your franchisor business coach to get the most out of your money and build a big business. So those are some of the highlights that we talked about. And then some of the results that happened as a result of finding the right franchisees who are going to be all in, betting on themselves, and making sure that they are driving towards being a top performer in that franchise system is, you can continue to build and grow your business not only within your existing territory, but expanding your territory. Several of the brands that were around over the weekend talked about how their franchisees may have started with 1, 3, or 5 territories, and they've doubled or tripled the size of their franchise by multiplying and expanding their business in multiple zip codes within the same market, or even venturing out and having territories outside of their city or state. That one painter, I was talking to Kimber over the weekend, and she said that they had a franchisee start with 1 territory. He expanded to 5 territories, and he's got them in 2 different states and has territory managers in each of the markets to really help him scale and grow the business. So some of the visions and the big thinking that you might want to plant that seed to think about in your business. Other ways to build and scale your business are some of these brands like Horsepower and ResiBrands, Belfor Brands, and Authority Brands. You can stack brands. So if you are operating a successful That One Painter franchise, you could stack on a Pink's Window Services franchise. Or if you are running a Varsity Zone HVAC business with Horsepower Brands, easily take a look and see, maybe you are adding a Mighty Dog Roofing if the territory is available. I'm also often asked about resales. Like, lots of people come to me saying, Laura, I really, really, really want a resale. I want something that is proven and has been around. So part of the discussion that we talked about is building and scaling a big business. So if you're a franchise owner and you're looking to sell your business, the most likely person to buy your successful franchise business is your peer franchise owner in the territory next door. So a lot of these successful franchise locations never even hit the market. We never see them. The franchisor might not ever know about a franchise sale that's pending because franchisees talk to each other. So another strategy of looking at a business is, what is your exit strategy? Is it building and growing a strong business that you're going to sell to either another franchisee in the system or sell outside of the systems? And many of the home service franchises that we work with, they have resale departments that can help you sell your franchise. But oftentimes they, like I said, never even hit biz buy sell or other resale markets. So what we're left with for those of you looking at only resales is that unicorn. And there's hundreds and hundreds of buyers looking for that unicorn, that very special franchise resale that's already turning a great profit and has X a strong EBITDA, strong multiple for somebody to invest in. And sometimes that's really, really hard to find, that special unicorn. And then we can see bidding wars. Well, we might have 3 or 5 or more candidates vying for the same franchise resale, and the buyer or the seller just cuts off the resale and it's not taking any more bids for that market. So something to think about if you're looking at it. I also like white space. Resales are good, but white space can sometimes be better because you're building from the ground up. You're not inheriting any problems. Problems might include Google reviews or perhaps territories or employees that you gotta manage too, and sometimes those employees might feel like they know more than you as a new owner of an existing business, rather than you making those hiring decisions from the ground up. And let's face it, if you're investing in a franchise, you're going to build and scale and grow a business very quickly with the support of a franchisor, particularly if you're invested at an all-in level of running a big business. So those are some of the key highlights of the weekend of our FRANship Mastermind that we collaborated, we chatted, we had a lot of laughs. We did a scavenger hunt, and we also spent a little bit of time on the beach relaxing, and then just having some meaningful opportunities to connect and find ways that we can best support you, our listeners, who are interested in business ownership and wondering what's the best business to invest in, and why should I invest in a business, and how do we help you if you're serious about investing in yourself and investing in your future. How do we best guide you to making an informed decision to move forward and be the very, very best franchisee that you can be? Are you coachable? Are you willing to follow systems? Do you have the financial resources to invest in a franchise, enough cash liquidity to secure an SBA loan, or perhaps look at a 401k rollover, so you have enough financial capacity to launch the business, and if hiccups happen, and hiccups happen in any business, that you're going to be able to weather those winds and move forward and come out and just have a bang up business, a bang up franchise. So again, would love to chat with you further. If you're interested in franchising and share more insights from the weekend, I can share some of the funny stories as well if you're interested, and would love to talk to you about some of these amazing franchise opportunities on your path towards becoming an entrepreneur and being a successful business owner. Really appreciate you turning into Powered by Franchising, and we'll talk to you next time.